Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the final and fourth episode of Features of Cambridge Central Mosque. Thank you very much for joining us over the past few weeks in this second lockdown, where we've spoken about various different parts of the Cambridge Central Mosque building, its features, its eco-features and its uses. And in today's episode, we're ending in almost the finale of the building, the main prayer hall of Cambridge Central Mosque. Just to remind you, you can watch all of the previous episodes on YouTube, but also if you'd like more information on tours that we run here at Cambridge Central Mosque when we're outside of lockdown, please visit the Cambridge Central Mosque website and the tours section of said website. So without further ado, let's get into what the main prayer hall. So just behind me, you'll see the focal point of this part of the building. It is known as the mihrab, and just beside it is the minbar. So the mihrab is important as it signifies the direction of Makkah. All of the musallins and attendees of daily prayers and the Friday prayers will be facing towards the front of the room, where the imam will be standing and leading the congregation. Specifically on Friday prayers, you'll notice that the minbar, which is directly next to the mihrab, is basically a set of steps in which the imam can stand to be seen by the whole congregation during Friday prayers. Now, as we step towards the back of the building, the fantastic dome will be visible right above my head. This is the tallest part of the Cambridge Central Mosque building, standing at 12 meters. From the outside, it is golden, and then from the inside, you can see a couple of really interesting artistic features. You've got the geometric designs of Professor Keith Critchlow, much in the same way as you have throughout the building. You've got stained glass windows that surround the edges, and beautiful lighting that really bring the dome to life from the inside. Coming back down, we're going to have a look at another one of the artistic features that surround this fantastic space within Cambridge Central Mosque, and those are the calligraphy roundels that you can see across the space. An interesting story about these roundels: they have been created by master calligrapher Hüseyin Kutlu. He resides in Turkey, and if you visited the mosque perhaps 12 months ago, you will have seen that these parts of the Cambridge Central Mosque main prayer hall were missing. So there were sort of circular cutouts. They were sent across to Turkey, and then these roundels were fitted back in December of 2019, just before the official opening of Cambridge Central Mosque. So naturally, the most prominent feature of this space is how large it is, and you'll notice how, in comparison to the rest of the building, which we walked through in previous episodes, it's much higher as well. The swooping trees that you see here, made from sustainably sourced pine from various Scandinavian forests, they give the worshipper the feeling of sort of rising above. It instantly makes you want to look upwards. And there's also a significant symbolic meaning to the number of trees that you see in this space, standing at 16. And in line with our ethic of making sure that this is a space accessible to all aspects or all backgrounds of Muslims, it is a non-denominational masjid. And in keeping with our ethic of making sure that the masjid is accessible to as many people as possible, we spoke in episode 2 about the women's ablution area. At the back of this space, we've got the women's prayer area as well. You'll notice that this is primarily all on one level, so it's wheelchair accessible for both men and women. And then if we move towards the rear of the space, you'll start to see more of the artistic detail, particularly in the barriers before the women's space. Now, it's important to point out here that these barriers are again made of wood, they are oak, and importantly, they are movable, so we can move the barriers up and down to reflect the number of men versus women coming in to pray at any given time. Pre-COVID-19, these barriers were much closer and provided a much bigger space for the women to be attending, but we've sort of adapted and observed that the number of women attending has reduced, and hence they've now been pushed back a little bit, but can easily be moved forward when the time arises. You'll notice if you pan across to that part of the building that the barriers differ in height. So you've got part of the barrier which is of full head height, part of the barrier which is only at waist height. And this really reflects the multi-cultural background of Muslims within the Cambridge area, in which some female worshippers prefer to pray in total privacy, and hence they have the higher barrier. Some would like to be able to see the congregation but not be seen while in the position of sujood, and they have the waist-high barrier. And then there is a gap here to allow for children to pass between the men and the female section. And in keeping with children within the masjid, we've got a very unique feature within the Cambridge Central Mosque, and that is the room that you see just behind me. This is the mother and child section, and a feature that you don't see at many masjids around the UK. It is a soundproofed area, allowing for mothers with young children to attend congregational prayers without the fear that their child may disrupt the congregation. And then leading up from the mother and child space upstairs, we've got to the Barakahan Gallery, which provides one of the most scenic views of this fantastic main prayer hall here at Cambridge Central Mosque. A final thing to point out about this space, you'll see when the camera pans across, this is a donation that was gifted to the Cambridge Central Mosque. It is a cutout from the Kaaba, and such a large piece is quite rare and a massive attraction to visitors of Cambridge Central Mosque. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to Features of Cambridge Central Mosque for the past 4 weeks of lockdown. We look forward to welcoming you back into the building from next week when we reopen, and inshallah in future welcoming back guided tours as well. I've been Shoaib Shahid. Thank you very much for joining. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.